infections and viruses and bacteria, and the fight for life has gone on and on and on for many, many years, many decades, I would say. And it really boils down to microbes. Microbes are living organisms that bring life. And if we have none of these microorganisms, then sickness and disease and decay comes about. And I was looking at a video recently, and I just thought, we talk about the cycle of life, and it is so true. There is a cycle of life. And this movie is called Kiss the Ground, is the name of the movie. Because in our house we take probiotics, and it makes sense when you think about why we have to take probiotics in today's world, because we want to live and we want to be healthy. So we need microbes everywhere. We need microbes in the soil. We need microbes in our gut. And where's the relationship? What's the relationship? Well, this movie documentary does a great job in explaining it. It explains how chemicals started in the beginning, and how chemicals started after the Second World War. There were chemicals left over, and these chemicals then were designed by a German, I don't know who he was a scientist or a businessman or whatever he was, a chemist probably. He designed chemicals for agriculture. He said these leftover chemicals can be thrown onto the land, and you'll have bigger yields and bigger fruit and vegetables, whatever, and larger yields, and you make more money and all of that sort of thing. So that was the birth of intensive farming. So farmers then became used to, they cleared the land, and they had more intensive farming. And so they didn't have to worry about crop rotation or anything. They just threw more and more chemicals every year onto the land, and, they prospered, they did very well. But what they were doing really was they were killing off the microbes in the soil. And, what we're coming to do now is we're coming back to realise, the importance of these microbes, because without the microbes, we may have crops, but there would be no nutrients in the vegetables or fruit that we eat. And the reason being is that the microbes help to break down the nutrients in the earth. And those nutrients then are drawn up over a period of a season into the plants and fruit and vegetables, and then when they're eaten, we're eating the plant, but the microbes in our gut are needed then to break down the plant to get the nutrients out of the plant. But of course, if there's no microbes in the soil, there's no nutrients in what we eat, so people are actually eating empty food. And then what happens, of course, is the soil gets sick. So when the soil then gets sick, it attracts bacteria. So when it attracts a bacteria, they then come along and they put, they first of all put the NPK to grow the crop. And then they put pesticides and insecticides and fungicides and everything onto it. And then what happens then, that food goes into the supermarket, and then the people buy the food, and then they bring it home, and they think they're eating nutrients, but because they have no life force in the food, there's no nutrients in the food, people get sick. And when people get sick, then they come along and they make antibiotics for the people, and then that continues down then the allopathic route, where they pay no attention to the food and all attention to trying to kill off the disease. So that's it. So that's basically it. So when that is the cycle of life. Well, it's the cycle of death, really. But then we cannot control what's going on out there in the world. But what we can do is we can control what goes on in our own homes. And I suppose that's what we do, and that's what we advocate. And it's very simple. On one hand, the external world has invaded our homes and our health. And the reverse of that is that we take control of our home environment. So we actually work from inside out. So what we do is we buy food that has from producers from food that have, you know, life force in them, that they're naturally grown. And then we also need to address to make the bacteria in our gut. So to get the bacteria into our gut, we need to take microbes. So we take, these are protoenzymes that we take. We take one in the morning, one in the evening, and that gets all the microbes into our gut. And then when we take our minerals, we take liquid minerals as well as eating healthy food, so that when we take the nutrients, the microbes in our gut are able to break it down, assimilate it, and take the nutrients out of it and bring it into our blood system, carry it around and make our cells healthy. So what we're really doing is we are looking at the cell life, every cell in our body, and we are giving our cells everything that's needed to be healthy. So our cells are healthy, our body is healthy, our homes are healthy, our families are healthy. So that's what we're doing. We are actually reversing and we are creating a home environment, a clean home environment. And of course, we're getting our nutrients from clean industry, whereas the marketplace that's out there, they get it from what we would call, what scientists are calling, the difference is dirty industry, industrial chemistry, whereas we're getting it from green chemistry. So yes, so it's a great movie. I would recommend anybody to have a look at it, because we need to be educated. We need to be educated because we need to protect ourselves. So the bacteria is not the problem. The problem is the microbes have been killed by chemicals. So we get the microbes right, and everything becomes back to normal again, bring balance back again.